mental health and well-being tonight. And it was so funny because I was talking to someone the other day and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to try this new product, Adaptiv. It is all of these amazing things. And they're like, but I don't have anxiety, or I don't suffer from depression, or I don't have PTSD. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's literally for everyone. So I'm excited to tell you why that is, and then tell you how it's going to make you and your life so much better. So let's just start with a general discussion of the effects of emotional distress. So we all know that our emotions, or maybe we don't, we'll do like a quick 101 on emotions. So emotions are just chemical reactions that happen in our brain. And what happens is we experience something and then our brain processes it. And then from that process, it creates a chemical reaction, which is an emotion. And then that emotion affects our behavior and also affects our bodies on a mental, physical, and emotional level. So to make this really simple, if I'm already having a day where like nothing is going right and more stressors are being added, and I don't know, I'm holding a crying baby and the dog is barking and the phone rings, and I go to answer the phone and I've got all these feelings of stress, right? As I'm processing these stressful situations, chemicals are being released into the brain, and those chemicals are causing emotions. And what emotions are those? Those are going to be like angst, frustration, anger, impatience, feelings of overwhelmed, whatever that might be. And then that in turn is going to change my behavior, right? I may become short. I might become impatient. I may become rigid or angry or slamming things, or I could have physiological reactions as well, such as I have a headache, or I tend to actually carry a lot of my stress in my neck and shoulders. So when we reach for products like I have right here on my desk, Deep Blue for neck and shoulders, because now it's 8 o'clock at night and I can like barely move, it's going to help the stress and tension, but it's not really going backwards and helping the root cause that ended me 4 steps forward with neck tension, right? So figuring out how we can support our bodies at the root level there in the brain, which will then affect how we process things, how we respond to things, the chemical reactions that our brains release. We can control more of the way we feel, both mentally and physically. And the new product to do that is one of my favorites, and it is Adaptiv. And so this is my second bottle because I already finished the first bottle that I got last month at convention. And the new Adaptiv line has a couple different products, and we're going to break them down tonight. But the first one is they have a dietary supplement, which is my absolute favorite. And this is one that we would take every day preventatively, and I'll dive more into that in a little bit. Then there's an essential oil blend that comes as a blend in a 15 milliliter, and then it also comes in a roller ball. So I mentioned earlier that our emotions are caused by chemical reactions. So it's important to understand a few different scientific terms. I'm going to try to make this as easy as I can to understand, but then you'll understand the value of this product. So there are some important what we call cofactors, and they are neurotransmitters. And neurotransmitters are neuro, so they're in our head, and they affect the way we feel. And one of those neurotransmitters is serotonin. And I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with serotonin. If you've heard me talk about lifelong vitality, I always talk about how important it is for our gut, because a lot of our serotonin is built in our gut. And serotonin actually affects the way we feel, whether or not we're happy or we're sad. And a deficiency in serotonin will lead to intense feelings of sadness. So depression, things like that. And if we're not taking care of our gut, which makes a lot of our serotonin, you're not naturally going to make serotonin, so you're not going to naturally feel happy. And what happens is then we go to the doctors and we're like, we're not very happy people. And they give us things to try and mimic those neurotransmitters or synthetic forms of serotonin to kind of trick the brain into being happy without really fixing the root cause of being low serotonin. The second neurotransmitter that's really important to understand is called GABA. And GABA stands for gamma aminobutyric acid. And what can happen is we can have an overstimulation. So kind of the opposite of serotonin, we have an overstimulation of neurons, and then that overstimulation causes us to feel really anxious. So you think of like anxiety, people who have like panic issues, things like that. That's overstimulation, and GABA is what controls that. So we have serotonin, which is happy or sad, and then we have GABA, which is balanced or overstimulation, which causes anxiety. And then we have something in the body that we need in our brain called alkaloids. And alkaloids are GABA and serotonin's friends. So if you think of them walking down the street, alkaloids are going to be in the middle, arm in arm with each of those, and they help our body sustain the proper amount of serotonin and GABA. So all of these are very important players in how you feel on a daily basis. And then the last really important cofactor, which is also part of lifelong vitality, is essential fatty acids. So essential fatty acids are critical elements to supporting our brain function, and our brain structure. So we need healthy levels of serotonin, we need healthy levels of GABA so that we're happy, not anxious, and then we need alkaloids and essential fatty acids to keep those two playing on an even field. And that is what promotes a stable mood balance, stable emotional balance. And what is so amazing is that doTERRA has created a product that does all of those in their new Adaptiv calming blend. So when we're thinking of other products we've used in the past for emotions, for mood health, mental health, a lot of those are really great for when those emotions come on. I look at Adaptiv like I look at lifelong vitality, and it's helping our body at a root level. So when we're taking Adaptiv every day preventatively, it's going to bring our body back in balance. So that when we do have situations that cause us to react in a way we don't want to, or feel a way we don't, then we can reach for those essential oils to support those emotions at any given time. But when we're thinking of something that's sustainable, preventing, this is when Adaptiv comes in. And what is so amazing is that it's all natural. So in this product, so it's non-habit forming. You're not going to have to increase your amount or the amount over time, and you don't have to worry about any side effects because it's all natural. So in the Adaptiv blend, there's lavender flower leaf and stem oil, coriander seed oil, wild orange, and fennel seed. Then there is the ahi flower seed oil, and then the gamma that we talked about. And then it also has another, I don't know, I don't want to butcher this, but it's like Sceliotium root. And I wrote something down about this. Let me pull it up really quick. So the cool thing about the Sceliotium root is that's where the alkaloids are coming from that control proper levels of the GABA and boost serotonin levels. And then what these do together in a capsule is it lowers our cortisol level. So cortisol is boosted when we stress. We don't have to be anxious. We don't have to be depressed. We don't have to have PTSD or be bipolar for our bodies to release unhealthy amounts of cortisol. Literally, being stressed out releases cortisol in the body. And when we have too much cortisol in our body, it will affect your hormones. It will affect your thyroid. It will affect your adrenal. It leads to adrenal fatigue. It will it'll speed up aging. It kills your immune response. And the worst, I say one of the worst, is you gain weight. When we have too much cortisol in our bodies, we gain weight, and most of it is in our stomach, which is so unhealthy. And if we're eating right and we're working out and we're not losing any weight, oftentimes it's stress and then cortisol, right? Which is a result of chronic stress. And you could be like me and think, I'm not really stressed out and not self-aware. And then you go get a cortisol test and you're like, holy moly, there's an issue here, right? Because I'm not someone who thinks I'm stressed out all the time. My body tells me I'm stressed out all the time. It's like, Brooke, you have a migraine. Brooke, your neck hurts. Brooke, your back hurts. Brooke, you can't lose weight, or whatever it is, because I'm not as self-aware as I need to be about my emotions. So you could be on either of the scale. You're like, yes, I need help with emotions, and you're like, no, I really don't, but I have all these physiological symptoms that won't go away, right? Upset stomach, digestive issues, not sleeping at night. Like, so much of this is caused by stress. So that is why I think Adaptiv is an absolute for everyone. I don't know anybody who goes through an entire day without any amount of stress. And then the cool thing is that they have the essential oil blend as well, which is different than the supplement. So the supplement is kind of like the root. It's helping all of the things in the brain. And then the roller blend was created to support that, for ongoing support. So I thought it would be cool to look up some of these essential oils that are in here and break them down a little bit so you can see really how amazing they are and not just take my word for it. So the first one that comes up in this blend is wild orange, and I'm using my emotions book tonight. So looking at some negative emotions that wild orange is associated with is scarcity thinking, overly serious, rigid, dull, workaholic, lack of energy, discouraged, hoarding, and envious. If we want to feel more abundant, have a sense of humor, be more playful, generous, spontaneous, creative, joyful, that's wild orange. The next one is lavender. We know how amazing lavender is, right? Lavender is like everything calming. When in doubt, use lavender. Some of us, it's not strong enough for, but if it is for you, that is amazing. Another essential oil that is in here is copaiba, which is fantastic. It's stronger for me when it comes to calming, relaxing, stress, anxious feelings, fearful, worried, feeling like you have lack of control. Copaiba is really good for that. And then it has, oh, I do have it in my book. I wasn't sure if it was in my book. So negative emotions for copaiba is shameful, guilty, regretful, self-loathing, feeling less than, unworthy, suppressed emotions, or rebelling. If you want to feel more worthy, self-aware, clarity, forgiven, or purposeful, copaiba is great for that. And then it has spearmint, and it smells really, really good too. And one of the fun tricks we learned at convention was to roll it behind the ear if you are in a situation that's going to provoke anger feelings, or if you're going into a situation that could possibly provoke anger feelings. So spearmint is great for feeling confident, articulate, having mental clarity, and feeling courageous. One of my absolute favorites is in here, and that's magnolia. Magnolia smells so good. It's the oil of compassion. So it's great if you're feeling disconnected, numb, lonely, isolated, withdrawn, or unkind. You want to feel more connected, compassionate, unified, thoughtful, insightful, perceptive, respectful, and kind. Magnolia is your flower, is your oil, also your flower. It also has rosemary, which was kind of interesting to me at first. And then I thought, the first thing I thought of with rosemary is great for focus. So this is really great if you have children who maybe have like hyperactivity, have focus issues. This essential oil blend is great for them. So if feelings of confused, difficulty adjusting or transitioning, limited perspective, difficulties with learning. So the rosemary in here will help with mental clarity, knowledge, teachable, enlightened, open to new experiences, and ability to adjust. And let me see if there's any more. Oh, it has neroli, but I'm not sure that neroli is in my book. Neroli actually is really great for feelings of anxiety as well. Oh, it is in here. So neroli is great for purpose. So feeling conflicted, restless, impatient, bitter, frustrated, unsympathetic, disloyal, dispassionate, sexual inhibition, aloof, unkind, stagnant, blaming, escapism. If you're wanting to feel more patient, more empathetic, more kind, tolerant, calm, fidelity, intimate, sexual desire, resilient, cooperative, and committed, then neroli is the oil for you. So I can't even think. What do we think? Maybe like 25 general emotions fall under this blend. So it is great. It's a roller if you're unfamiliar with it. Smells yummy. What I do is I just put a little bit on the inside of my wrist. Probably gonna make me tired because it's nighttime. It's gonna calm me down. And a little bit behind my ears. And then I take one Adaptiv a day in the morning. I am pretty, if you don't know me, I run pretty high. So one Adaptiv is really good for me for calming. I tried taking 2 about a week ago before work, and that was not a good idea because it pretty much, like, I was like flatlined. I wasn't tired. I just was very, very calm, like too calm. So 1 a day is my recommendation. If you're looking for something to take with it to really balance out whole body homeostasis, the Copaiba soft gel, 1 of those a day, they've done studies on it, will last up to 9 hours. So you think that's like your day. And I forgot to mention the Adaptiv was clinically studied by doTERRA, which is the first of its kind in the natural world, especially in an essential oil company. Most companies can't afford to do any type of testing, let alone clinical testing, and it was found effective across the board for everyone. So that is the information that I have on Adaptiv and the Adaptiv Touch. I'll check Facebook now to see if we have any questions. And if you're on Zoom, you can unmute yourself and let me know if you have any questions. Nope, just hi. Hi, Angela. Hi, Anna Marie. Well, I hope this was super helpful. If you guys have any questions after this, feel free to reach out to whoever shared essential oils with you, or you can leave a comment in the Hippie Lawyer Mom community under the thread that this went live on. Thanks so much, you guys, for joining me.